go ahead.
This will be interesting for our friend who was in the
What was the plane?
military.
The German jet fighter plane that strafed us was ME 102,
Okay. Now
Messerschmitt
oh, Messerschmitt.
102.
Okay.
Measures.
How long were you, you may have already mentioned this, but how long were you in the hospital in England?
Well, in a way, I lucked out because I was in the hospital close to the big fight,
And that was what, the Battle of the Bulge?
the Battle of the Bulge. Le Havre is not too far north. They wanted room in the hospital, so us that could moved on to England. We caught the hospital ship across the channel and went to England. Ended up in Manchester. After a month, I guess, got my furlough, stayed in London for 10 days. Then I went over to Litchfield and acted as guard on the fences. And that's where I saw the V-1s flying at night. They'd run, stop, couldn't see them. Then they'd start up again, fire.
And you got, tell us about that, what was it, a tree blast or that?
Oh, the
Oh, tree burst.
Tree burst.
Tree burst
Tell us-
is what we called them.
That was when he got injured, yeah.
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 And that was, and then when they hit an object, they just spray, huh? They just, the shrapnel just sprays out.
The scrap metal inside is just
Right.
blast around.
Yeah.
I was laying down, duking it out with this guy, the 20 millimeter flak wagon. It's kind of hard to fire a rifle in the dark, but we were firing our rifles, and they were shooting too.
And that was where again? Where was that?
Benfield, France.
France, yes.
I went back there and with my wife in '93, I think.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That must have
When
been
did-
interesting.
Didn't look any different.
Oh.
Really? Ah.
When did you go to Egypt?
Just after we went to Jordan. We flew over, landed in Cairo. Next day took a plane to Jordan. We had to go that way because Israel would not accept, no, it was the other way around. Jordan wouldn't accept us if we had an Israel stamp on our passport.
Oh, yeah.
So there was no unrest when you went to Egypt? People weren't fighting at that time?
No.
Okay.
Before
No.
that first
Yeah.
big plane went down, probably.
Oh, while we're at it, while you're here, go ahead and tell us a little bit about these pictures. I'm just gonna hold it up for just a second, just to take a shot of it
I got a shot of this one.
on film here. And this is you in your uniform.
Is that before you went over?
Yeah,
Before.
yeah.
Okay. You take that off.
I went down there to have a weekend with my friend from grammar school, and he was a cadet officer, and I was an enlisted man.
Yeah, let me get that
Oh,
one.
this might be his friend.
Isn't oh, that's you and your friend.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, let me get that.
Was this in the area? Where was this located? Where you grew up?
somehow he managed to get a car from his girlfriend.
Let's see what
Looks like a
He
neat car.
he was pretty good at it.
I wonder what kind of car that is.
that's a great picture.
Yeah.
There's a example of something in the background ruining the picture. There's a big tall tree or something
Oh.
growing out of my head.
Oh, well, it's
Yeah, the
next to-
line. The line.
Yeah, right. That's okay.
That can be photoshopped out. Is that around Fresno or something? Where is that located? Is that California? Or is that more like
No,
in the
I
south?
was stationed in Kentucky,
Oh, okay, so.
and he was stationed in Alabama.
Okay, so it's more of a
I
southern-
went down there.
Okay, Alabama. Wow.
And you sign your name R-A-L, mostly your initials, huh? When you sign
Yeah.
things. And your middle name is, you say Alfred? Yeah.
You're digging deep here, son.
Well, not too deep. It could be more intense, but I'm not going to go there. No. So do you have any other things to add?
Gosh, he could talk all about his trips, his
Yeah.
travel trips, couldn't he?
Yeah. Any more scouting stories that you could think of about World
No,
War II?
I could say that I was engaged when I went overseas, and when I came home, I was still engaged to the same woman, but I could sense there'd been a change.
Oh.
She didn't like my delay in coming home.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And when I told her I had a German Fraulein there,
Ooh.
Oh.
that was it.
That was
Oh.
the end there.
That turned me loose to find Colleen.
Yeah.
That's-
And you're happy that happened.
Yeah.
Did Colleen? Did she have creative? Did she do creative things? Did she do photography or art or?
She raised a family.
Oh, okay. That's.
She had no hobbies other than bridge.
Oh, okay. Okay.
She loved to play bridge.
Yeah. And she was a nurse too. Huh?
She was a nurse. She
Mhm.
graduated as I met her.
Mm-hmm. Did she
And-
go back after she raised her family? Did she go back to nursing or not?
Oh, yeah,
Oh, she did.
yeah.
Oh, great.
How do you think we bought the house?
Okay.
Mm.
No, remember that movie, My Favorite Astronaut, with Barney Fife? Or
Oh, reluctant astronaut.
Reluctant, yeah. And he started off sweeping. It's funny that you
Yeah.
sweeping.
Well, I had a little help from here, but while I was storekeeper here, I went through the one of these mail order colleges, and the company accepted that and acknowledged me with a promotion.
Wow. That's great.
Then from that, I worked my way up to distribution engineer.
Jeez. And what did that entail exactly?
Control of the electric circuits. For instance, when you go 3,000 people go out of power.
Mm. Okay.
So you've got a lot of responsibility there.
Yeah.
Does it entail going around into the field?
Or
Inspecting
as early, yes.
Yeah.
We go around and customers want more power or different place.
Mm-hmm. So you have to
We did that for several years
Oh.
in Tracy and Stockton.
Oh, I wanted to tell us a little bit about your red jacket, your famous red jacket with the patches.
I didn't know it was famous, but I
It's
dare you to try to put
Well, I
another
remember it.
patch on.
I remembered it. So when did you first start? So the oldest one looked like it was 1938.
I can't remember when I got it, but I've served in 2 Eagle ceremonies wearing it.
That's wonderful.
I always remember that red jacket, the red coat.
That's about the only time I wore it is special events.
Well, even at the scout hut, like the scout meetings,
Did I?
I believe so.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It probably gave you authority with the kids too, don't you think? Kind of wowed them a bit.
Yeah, I suppose.
Good thing to wear.
And we used to camp a lot up at. I remember the summer camps were usually at Utica Reservoir. How did that come to be? How was that arranged?
I have no idea,
Oh, okay.
but we went there several times.
Yes.
It was a nice location.
Mm-hmm.
We'd get mad at the people who owned it, driving through and raising dust, but they could have go slower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they were mad at us.
Oh, that was a great place. I remember that there was a bugle or a little trumpet or that was attached to a tire pump. And I remember in the mornings they would squeeze that or make that tire pump and make that loud noise, that blast of noise that would wake us up. Because we were all spread out.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So that would get us all together, and then we would do.
Yeah, the older ones wanted to get further away. And
Yeah.
And that's where I got initiated up
you
there.
remember Clyde Purvis?
Yes.
He was the man to take camping. Because he'd get up early, get the fire going, make the coffee.
Wow.
Even on a cold morning, he had it all ready.
Mm.
Huh. And he was one of the fathers?
Indirectly, his son had been there and gone.
Okay. So he was one of the older ones.
Once in a while, I still hear from him, but not in the last 6-7 years.
Mm.
His mother died.
Wasn't Mrs. Purvis a nurse? Was she also a nurse, Mrs. Purvis?
Yes,
Okay.
she was.
Yes. Yeah,
Our daughter had some brief training under her. She didn't like her.
Oh.
I think it was mutual.
Oh, wow. So I remember you were, you and the fathers on campouts, you were called the Old Goat Patrol. And there was that, now Mr. McClay, he's the one that had that trailer that was equipped with a stove and, remember that?
That was the troop trailer.
Troop trailer.
I built it.
Oh, you built, oh, that's right, you built that. You put
Yeah,
the siding-
he donated the frame.
The frame, that's what, okay.
And Lyndon and I built the
Oh, right.
kitchen on it.
Oh,
Ooh, how wonderful.
We had a old hot water tank in there, just as a supply of water, drinking water,
Yeah. Wow.
and butane or something to run the stoves. It worked out pretty well.
I remember that.
The things folded down on the side for working tables.
Yeah, that was.
I'd like to get one of those little teardrop trailers. You know those? All they are is a bed. You tow them, from the back, and then they're just a bed inside, but then it has a fold down with a stove in the back, and
Yeah,
it's kind of a nifty.
compact little
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
But I think you got to crawl into your bed. And
Oh yeah, they're very, very minimal.
I remember Troop 432. We used to win a lot of the camporees. We had some great training from the adults
Is
that
that
were.
because of Ralph?
Yeah.
There were some who say you got a great scorekeeper too.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, we were efficient. That's for sure.
he
Yeah.
didn't cheat.
Yeah. We went on. I can't remember how many pre-camporees we used to go to before the camporee. Maybe it was 3 or something like that. Like at Paradise Cut. Remember Paradise Cut?
Yeah,
Yeah.
So these areas that you camped, were they far away? Were they just like
They were
2 hours away, or?
No, they were like on the outskirts of.
they wanted the mothers and dads to come out too.
So they didn't want them to be too far out.
No, they-
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had one up at Scout Camp, the old Scout Camp,
Yeah.
and of course there were very few parents there. Decided that didn't work too well.
I
Yeah.
see.
It was like snow.
I had to sleep with McClay that night.
Oh, uh-oh.
Did he snore?
I don't know, I was so tired.
Yeah.
And then there was snow camp. Yeah.
Yeah, wrestling matches.
Yes. I remember at snow camp, at breakfast, there were 2 different juices. There was fruit juice and there was tomato juice. And I remember you were serving the juice. You were pouring the juice out for the kids, and I remember you were happy, or you were, I don't know, you were thankful that I was the only kid that would drink tomato juice. Everybody, all the other boys didn't go near the tomato juice, but I said, I'll take the tomato juice, and you go, good boy, or something like that. I remember that.
I don't remember.
That was just something silly that I remember, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the worst kid you ever dealt with? Do you remember?
I don't think there was a problem.
Really? They were all good kids.
They were pretty,
Good
they
boys.
kept in line pretty well.
I don't remember any.
The only thing I remember was at summer camp there was a garbage pit, a big garbage pit, and somehow, or for some reason, Ronnie Chancellor was required to go in there to sort of spread everything out evenly.
Uh-huh.
And then David Bowlesby was kicking dirt in at him. And then I remember you saw him doing that, and you went up and kicked him in the butt. David. Of course, nowadays you could get sued for that.
No, not nowadays.
No. But
Oh
I remember the
God,
look on
that's funny.
Bowlesby's face. His eyes became like saucers, like he couldn't believe that. You know?
Oh, God.
Did we have the Camperole, which was an award for the A ratings in the camporee?
I don't know. I don't remember the camperole. Was that something that was earlier on?
I guess so, because
Yeah.
one of them was Yosemite.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
Two
Oh,
nights at Yosemite, and it turned out they didn't have a driver for one of the cars, so I was of age and had a license, and we drove up. I drove up, and then we hiked up to the Nevada Falls. And
Oh. I remember my first summer camp. We were riding up to Utica, and I remember Mr. Jacobson had this station wagon that had problems with the brakes, and one time
Oldsmobile.
he got out, and it was started to roll back, and there were kids in it. And I remember he jumped. Well, he had his door open, and he was out talking, and he saw it rolling back, and I remember he dove into the front seat and grabbed with his hand the emergency brake, and then he had it. We had to get out of the station wagon. He drove back home, and then we ended up riding in there in I think the McClay's camper to go
Well,
to
you
the
weren't
rest.
in that
I was in that.
station?
Yeah,
The one
Eric.
that I started to roll back?
Yeah, Eric and I and some other kids. I can't remember, but
I know my dad used to get these Oldsmobiles, and their braking system was
it may have
so
been.
good.
You know, it may have been an Oldsmobile.
We had trouble going down mountains sometimes, and it was scary.
Yeah,
Because they'd start to get overheated really easily.
yeah. But I remember there was this guy Doyle Williams. He was starting a troop at the same time that Tom Olson had 432, and he was trying to. I remember my dad was saying he was being kind of forceful to my dad. He said, "You're going to be in this troop or something," but everybody tended to follow Tom Olson into his troop. So
He was a popular one.
yeah. There's something like Mr. Jacobson and you were already there, I guess, and.
boy, there's quite a list of guys that aren't here anymore.
Yeah, there are.
Hmm.
Yeah, like Mr. Jacobson and well, my brother, and Mike Muller,
Yeah,
and Ronnie Chancellor, Mr. Richardson.
Spencer, and Clyde Purvis.
Yes,
Quite a list.
yeah.
It's about like my rifle squad.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
This guy that was in the rifle squad with me, he seems to think that I was the best one of the squad because I could read a map. And the squad leader and so on couldn't use the stars at all.
That would be good to know, huh? To use the stars to some degree.
I wasn't good at it, but I could tell north, and that's the clue.
Yeah,
If you find north, you got it licked.
yeah. You didn't have compasses or anything.
In the Army as a PFC, no. The squad leader had the compass and the maps. If we had a map, sometimes you don't have that.
Really?
Foreign country, you don't just pick one up at the gas
Gotcha.
station.
Exactly. So they didn't supply the squad leaders with
Yeah.
some things that they probably needed.
Well, I saw towns over there that I didn't think would ever be built again, rebuilt.
Totally destroyed.
But in Germany, I went back in '93, something like that, Augsburg, which I had lived in for 6 months, covered a lot of the town, and I could not find my way.
So
They'd put it back together again, and I didn't recognize it. My wife and I finally flagged down a taxi and told him we want to go to a motel. I'll follow you. We followed him. He dropped us off, and I had to pay taxi fare, but he got us there. That was a trip we had been up for 2 days because the airlines had screwed up, stranded us in San Francisco to start with.
Oh boy.
We were three hours late there, and that meant 3 hours late over there, and that means you missed that flight. As we landed, we could see it going. We finally made it.
I remember in Scouts, one thing I remember you saying is when you were getting the hatchet, cutting off the smaller branches from a limb for kindling, to cut the top part, the top, instead of cutting underneath where it curves under. It cuts easier. You know what I'm saying?
Why?
Using gravity? So
I don't know, but I remember that. It's like like here's a branch, and then the smaller branches come out at an angle. And you said to cut the top part and not cut underneath.
Were we talking about pruning or gathering?
Just cutting for firewood. But I remember that was something that stuck with me.
Well, it's going with the angles,
Yeah.
and also using gravity.
Yeah, but you think that you'd want to cut underneath because there's a V shape that would be easier for the hatchet to go into.
Oh, I see.
But that's not the best way.
I can't remember that at all.
But I remember that you saying that, and I think that you said that McClay told you that or something like that. But anyway.
Martin and I got in several arguments.
But he was in World War II also, right?
I don't think so.
Oh, no? Oh.
I don't think so.
Okay.
In recent months, I'd say in a recent year, I've got an old army hat I wear once in a while, cap. And there have been 2 young men, your age, I think, ask me if I was in World War II. And both of them are intently interested. And they really know their history, too. One guy said, "Did Patton have 4 stars or 3?" And I said 4. And he said, "No, I think it was 3." So I finally convinced him in a book that he got the 4th star after the war.
Oh, but now you mentioned that you saw Patton once.
Yeah.
Tell us. Go ahead. Can you tell it? Would you tell us about that? Where that was and.
It was a big party for Patton in my mind. He had the entire Third Army after the war meet someplace, and I can't find out where.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember big sloping grounds for a lot of people, just like a football game.
Mm-hmm.
And he came out in his, what do you call those pants?
The ones that proof here,
Oh, they come
Yeah.
out. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
but they're like riding, kind of like they look like you would ride with the high boots. And then
Yeah.
they
Called
come-
pantaloons or something?
Something.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
And I was told, and I've read about it since, that at that time he was wearing 29 stars on his pistol, on his hat, his collar. He wanted you to know who he was.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But he was fighting, and the heck with anything else.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess they saved the whole show by turning Third Army from going east to going north,
Oh.
even though I lost my place in the cot. Le Havre is maybe a wild guess, thinking of the map, 50, 60 miles from the center of the big fight. So they pushed us out right after New Year.
What was that place where you saw? Where was that place that you saw Patton?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
It was down in southern Germany
Oh,
where the Third Army was.
okay.
And he gathered up, he just told them, I'm general here, come.
Mm-hmm.
So they left a few guards, and that was it. We could have been overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
I can't even remember what the heck he did or anything
Yeah.
else.
Okay.
You think he gave a speech, a talk?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Our guys did not like him.
Oh.
They said that when Patton overtook the Third Army, we were in the Seventh Army south of that. But Patton liked the 14th Army to look pretty good,
Mm-hmm.
good outfit. So he got Eisenhower to move us just on paper up, and he made an inspection, and our guys had put sandbags on the tanks because that stopped the penetration.
Mm.
He said, take that off, I want these tanks to move.
Mm.
They will be off by morning.
Hmm.
That kind of an order.
Mm-hmm.
So they did, and they go on. I wasn't there. That the next day they got in a battle and lost twice as many tanks,
Oh, wow. Mm.
but they won the battle sooner.
Because they were more mobile.
Yeah,
They could go for it. They could penetrate more. Hmm.
in the winter it was very, very cold as they've had it in years. And you know, on a road, it's high in the middle. And the tank's cleats are in this position to pull forward or backwards. Well, it got so that we couldn't move the tanks because if you started them up, they'd slide off.
Oh, wow.
There was no cleats
Mm.
to fight that.
Oh. I see going that side way.
Yeah.
Ah,
Try to
just
go
the mud.
forward and it'd go sideways.
Ooh,
Oh, and you used to
wow.
drive a half
You wouldn't
track,
think.
right? World
Yeah.
War II. And that was your handle when you were doing the CB radio. You were called half track, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was appropriate.
Yeah.
I never
Nice.
did much driving, but one time they asked me to drive. It was about 3 o'clock in the morning, and we were still traveling over the Vosges Mountains. And the regular driver, said he was getting sleepy. So they asked me. I said, "I'm sorry, I can't drive this thing in the dark." And I said, "You've given me some 4 or 5 hours training, that was all." So the driver who lives in Los Angeles, and I have tried to find him, his name is Lopez. You try to find a single
Gonna be a lot of-
Yeah.
Lopez.
Remember, we met an actor named Lopez.
Oh, Sal Lopez.
Sal Lopez.
Yeah.
We met him.
Now, half track, this is for the audience. A half track is just a truck. It's mostly a truck with the rubber front wheels, but the back are like tank tracks, or yeah.
Yeah. And after the war, we tested one, see how fast it would go.
Mhm.
45 miles an hour. You imagine the noise.
Oh, wow.
Were you ever in those boats that are actually, what do they call it? They go on land as well. They're in the water and then they go on. I was in one of those once. I was so surprised.
Oh, then they have the door that comes open, and
Yeah,
that was
it's a boat, and then it becomes like a
like
you know,
a
a tank
like a
roller
yeah.
thing, and it comes up.
They
on the
use
land.
those for landing
Yeah.
units from the ocean.
Like Normandy, or
Yeah, I went to Normandy too later on.
Ooh, boy.
tell us about Normandy.
I don't see how in the heck they ever conquered it,
Yeah.
really. And don't tell the British, but I think they are bragging more there than any other place.
Mhm.
Little recognition to the American troops,
Mhm.
or at least where we were. But we could get up into the gun, what they call them, concrete,
Bunkers.
and they had a beautiful range. The beach, landing, the ships, boom, 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 boom.
Did they have to
You
climb?
still around?
Huh?
Did they have to climb really steep cliffs there too? I mean, I've seen
Yeah.
the beach, but then there's these cliffs
Yeah,
too, and I was wondering.
yeah. The trick is to
Geez.
lay down a torpedo, a telescopic thing, it's pipes, explosive pipes. You push this one up, you screw the next one in, you push that up, and screw the next one in. And then when you got it back into the
Mm.
nest or whatever you're after,
Mhm.
then you set it off.
I see.
All kinds of nasty weapons.
Yeah.
Did my crew quit out there?
Oh,
Seems like it's pretty quiet. I heard some noises, but.
Well, I think they're working on